The stars looked different from inside an alien ship. Commander Jake Morrison pressed his face against the viewing port and watched Earth grow smaller behind them. 3 days ago, he had been leading a routine patrol around Jupiter. Now he was traveling to meet creatures from another world. Dr. Lisa Barrett sat across from him, checking her notes for the 100th time. She had studied biology her whole life, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The alien message had been clear. Earth was listed in their records as a death world, a place where no intelligent life should exist. How can they think Earth is deadly? Lisa asked, looking up from her papers. We live there just fine. Jake shrugged. Maybe they're just different from us. Really different. The third human on the ship, Helen Clark, was busy learning alien words from the translation device they had been given. As Earth's top diplomat, she would do most of the talking when they reached the alien vessel. The device made strange clicking sounds as it taught her basic phrases in the alien language. Their ship is called Harmony's Edge, Helen said without looking up. The captain's name is something like Zixtal. I can't pronounce it right. The small transport ship they rode in was clean and white, with no sharp edges anywhere. Everything felt soft and rounded. Jake had noticed there were no weapons on board. Even the tools looked like they were made for creatures with gentle hands. Approaching the Federation vessel now, came a voice from the ship's speakers. The pilot was another alien, but they had not seen him yet. He stayed in the front part of the ship and only talked to them through the intercom. Through the viewing port, Jake could see their destination. The alien ship was massive, at least 10 times bigger than any Earth vessel. It was shaped like a smooth egg with lights along its sides. No rough surfaces, no sharp points, nothing that looked dangerous. Remember, Helen said as they prepared to dock, they think our world is so dangerous that no one should be able to live there. They might be scared of us. Lisa laughed. Scared of us? We're just people. But Jake wasn't laughing. He had been thinking about this for days. If aliens thought Earth was deadly, what did that say about humans? What made them think his home planet was so dangerous? The docking was smooth and quiet. A door opened in the side of their transport, and they walked through a tube that connected to the alien ship. The air smelled clean, too clean, like a hospital that had been scrubbed with bleach. Captain Zixtal was waiting for them in a large, round room. He was tall and thin with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were bigger than human eyes, and they seemed to glow slightly in the soft light of the room. When he saw the humans, he took a step backward. Welcome, Zixtal said through a translation device on his chest. His real voice made soft whistling sounds. You are the beings from the death world. We prefer to call it Earth, Helen replied with a smile. She extended her hand for a handshake, but the alien captain looked at it with confusion. Your planet, Zixtal continued. It is listed in our records as Class 12, the highest danger level. Nothing should live there. Dr. Lisa Barrett stepped forward. I study life on Earth. Maybe I can help explain why you think it's dangerous. 6 other aliens entered the room. They were all different shapes and sizes. One looked like a walking plant with leaves instead of hair. Another was short and round with skin that changed colors. A third had no visible eyes but seemed to watch them anyway. Your atmospheric pressure, said the plant-like alien. It would crush most of us. Your gravity, added the round one, is 3 times what we consider safe. Your weather patterns, whistled a thin alien with crystal-like skin. They are violent and unpredictable. Jake looked at his companions. Earth's air pressure was normal to them. The gravity felt fine. Weather was just weather. But we live there, Lisa said. Billions of us. The aliens exchanged looks. Or at least, Jake thought they were exchanging looks. It was hard to tell with being so different from humans. Show us, said Zixtal. Show us how you survive on the death world. Helen nodded to Jake. They had planned for this. Jake walked to the center of the room and began to demonstrate simple human abilities. He jumped up and down, showing how easily. He moved in what the aliens called crushing gravity. He took deep breaths of air that would apparently kill most galactic species. Then he did something that made all the aliens step back in fear. He lifted a metal table that had been pushed against the wall. To Jake it felt light, maybe 50 pounds, but the aliens stared at him like he had just performed magic. "How?" whispered the plant being. "That table weighs more than 3 of us combined." Dr. Barrett began to explain human physiology. She told them about bones that were dense and strong, muscles that could work for hours without failing, hearts that pumped blood through bodies designed for endurance and strength. "On Earth," she said, "we have animals much stronger than humans. Bears that weigh 800 pounds, elephants that weigh several tons. We share our world with creatures that could kill us easily." The color-changing alien skin went from blue to white. "You live with predators?" "Some of them," Lisa continued, "are much smaller but just as dangerous. Spiders with poison, snakes that can kill with one bite, tiny insects that carry diseases." Captain Zixtal made a sound that might have been distress. "Your world is full of death. Our world is full of life," Helen corrected gently. "Yes, it can be dangerous, but we've learned to live with the danger. We've grown strong because of it." Jake demonstrated a few more things. He showed them how humans could heal from small cuts. He explained how their immune systems fought off diseases that would kill other species. He talked about how humans could eat foods that were poisonous to most galactic life. By the end of the demonstration, the aliens were quiet. Finally, Zixtal spoke. "We have made an error," he said. "We thought your world was too dangerous for intelligent life. We were wrong. Your world made intelligent life too dangerous for everything else." The meeting continued for several more hours. The humans shared basic information about Earth's history, its people, and its place in the solar system. The aliens shared information about the Galactic Federation, the thousands of species that lived among the stars, and the vast civilizations that existed beyond Earth's sky. As the day ended, Jake realized that humanity was about to change forever. They were no longer alone in the universe. But more than that, they had learned something important about themselves. Earth had not just been their home. It had been their teacher, making them into something the galaxy had never seen before. The journey back to Earth was quiet. Each of the 3 humans sat with their own thoughts, processing what they had learned. They carried with them an invitation to join the Galactic Federation and the knowledge that humanity was unique in ways they had never imagined. When Earth appeared in their viewing port, growing larger as they approached home, it looked the same as always. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. But now Jake knew the truth. This beautiful, peaceful-looking world was considered a death world by every other intelligent species in the galaxy, and somehow, that made him proud to be human. The news spread fast through the galaxy. Within 3 days, every major species in the Galactic Federation knew about the humans from Earth. Messages flew between star systems, carrying the impossible story of beings who lived on a Class 12, Deathworld. Captain Zixtal found himself the center of attention he did not want. Scientists from dozens of worlds demanded to see his reports. Military leaders asked if the humans were a threat. Politicians wondered if first contact protocols had been followed correctly. "Sir," said his communications officer, a small blue creature with 6 arms, "we have another request for data about the Deathworlders." Zixtal sighed through his breathing slits. "Which species this time?" "The Hegemony Council. They want to send their own research team." On his homeworld of Vrax, government officials met in emergency session. The discovery that intelligent life could survive on Earth changed everything they thought they knew about biology and evolution. "How is it possible?" asked Prime Minister Keltar, her feathers ruffled with anxiety. "Our best scientists said nothing could live in those conditions." "Perhaps our scientists were wrong," replied General Vexnar. "Perhaps we need to rethink what we know about survival." Meanwhile, on Earth, the 3 human ambassadors had returned to find their world in chaos. News of alien contact had leaked despite government efforts to keep it secret. Every major city had crowds of people demanding to know more about their galactic neighbors. Commander Jake Morrison stood in a briefing room at the Pentagon facing a room full of military officials. General Ron Hayes, a man with gray hair and tired eyes, led the meeting. "What did you learn about their capabilities?" Hayes asked. "They're not built for conflict," Jake replied. "Their ship had no weapons. Their technology is focused on comfort and safety. They live in controlled environments where nothing dangerous exists. And they think we're dangerous? Not dangerous to them directly. They think our world is so deadly that we should not exist. When I lifted that table, they acted like I had super strength." Dr. Lisa Barrett was having similar conversations with scientists at the Centers for Disease Control. Dr. Karen White, the lead researcher, listened with amazement as Lisa described the aliens' reaction to human biology. "They were horrified when I explained our immune system," Lisa said. "The fact that we carry bacteria in our bodies scared them. They live in sterile environments." "What about their physiology?" Karen asked. "Fragile, very fragile. Their bones are hollow like bird bones, but even lighter. Their skin tears easily. They need perfect temperature control or they get sick." Helen Clark met with the Secretary of State and the President. The Oval Office felt strange after the alien ship, too small and too ordinary. "They want to invite us to join their federation," Helen reported. "But they're afraid of us." "Afraid of what exactly?" asked President Mary Davis. "Of what we represent. We're proof that their understanding of life in the universe is incomplete. We survive things that kill other species." Across the galaxy, the research vessel Deep Inquiry was already traveling toward Earth's solar system. Admiral Quentar, a massive creature that looked like a walking tree trunk, commanded the ship. His orders were simple: study the humans and determine if they posed a threat to galactic peace. "How long until we reach the Deathworld system?" he asked his navigator. 6 days at maximum safe speed, Admiral. "And if we increase speed?" "The stress might damage our equipment. The region around their star is known for dangerous radiation and debris." Quentar made a rumbling sound of frustration. Even approaching the human homeworld was proving difficult. On Earth, Dr. Sam Collins worked in his laboratory at MIT, preparing for the next phase of contact. The aliens had provided basic information about their technology, and Sam was trying to understand why it seemed so different from human engineering. "Look at this," he said to his assistant, Dr. Amy Johnson. "Their tools are designed to break, rather than bend. If something goes wrong, the tool stops working instead of adapting." "That's the opposite of human design," Amy replied. "We build things to keep working even when they're damaged." "Exactly. They prioritize safety over function. We prioritize function over safety." The differences went deeper than technology. Human entertainment confused the aliens. When Captain Zixtal had asked about human recreational activities, Helen had mentioned sports. The idea that humans voluntarily engaged in physical competition that could result in injury was incomprehensible to him. Jake Morrison was training a new group of astronauts for the next meeting with alien representatives. The trainees listened with wonder as he described the alien ship and its crew. "Remember," Jake told them, "what seems normal to us might terrify them. Don't make sudden movements. Don't demonstrate physical strength unless they ask. And never mention our military history unless specifically requested." Lieutenant Commander Beth Taylor raised her hand. She was young, smart, and eager to meet the aliens herself. "What if they ask about Earth's wildlife?" "Be careful," Jake warned. When Dr. Barrett mentioned sharks, one of the aliens fainted. Actually fainted. The group laughed, but Jake was serious. The cultural gap between humans and the rest of the galaxy was enormous. Dr. Barrett continued her research, trying to understand why humans were so different from other galactic species. She studied the data the aliens had provided about their homeworlds. Every planet in the Federation was carefully controlled. Weather was managed by technology. Dangerous animals were extinct or relocated. Disease was eliminated through genetic engineering. "We're the only species that evolved alongside danger," she told her research team. "Every other intelligent race removed threats from their environment. We adapted to live with them." Professor Carl Davis, a linguist working on alien languages, made an interesting discovery. Most galactic languages had no words for certain human concepts. There was no translation for courage, because other species rarely faced situations that required it. The word survival existed, but it meant something different to aliens who lived in perfect safety. The implications worried Earth's leaders. If humans were the only species adapted for dangerous conditions, what did that mean for their role in the galaxy? Would they be seen as protectors or as threats? News arrived that changed everything. A hostile force called the Devourers had attacked 3 Federation worlds in the Outer Rim. Traditional Federation forces were unable to stop them because the attacks took place in regions too dangerous for most species to operate. Captain Zixtal sent an urgent message to Earth. The Federation needed help from beings who could survive in impossible conditions. For the first time in galactic history, other species were asking humans for protection. Commander Morrison read the message in his quarters aboard the space station where he was training new ambassadors. The irony was clear. The same qualities that made aliens fear humans were now desperately needed. He looked out at Earth through the station's viewing port. His home world no longer seemed ordinary. It was a forge that had shaped humanity into something unique in the galaxy, something that other species needed even if they did not understand it. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of humanity as galactic guardians was about to begin. Admiral Quentar's research vessel, Deep Inquiry, reached the edge of Earth's solar system after a difficult journey. The space around the human homeworld was filled with what the aliens called chaotic debris. Asteroids, comets, and radiation from the sun made navigation dangerous for most galactic ships. "Sir," reported his science officer, "we are detecting massive gravitational anomalies throughout this system." Quentar studied the readings with confusion. How do the humans travel through this region? Their ships appear to be built for these conditions. Look at these design specifications we intercepted from their communications. The human spacecraft were nothing like Federation vessels. Where alien ships were smooth and protected, human ships had thick armor and backup systems for their backup systems. They were built to survive impacts, radiation, and equipment failures. On Earth, Dr. Karen White worked in her laboratory with samples the aliens had provided from their own biology. What she discovered amazed her. Alien cellular structure was incredibly fragile compared to human cells. A minor temperature change that humans would not even notice could kill alien tissue. Their entire evolutionary path is different, she explained to Dr. Lisa Barrett over a video call. They evolved in perfect conditions. No extreme weather, no dangerous radiation, no toxic substances. What about their immune systems? Lisa asked. They barely have any. They rely completely on their sterile environments. A common cold virus would be deadly to most of them. Meanwhile, Captain Steve Rogers prepared his team for their first joint training exercise with Federation forces. Steve was a former Marine who had been selected to lead Earth's first military exchange program with the aliens. His team of 12 soldiers was the best Earth had to offer. "Remember," Steve told his people, "we're not trying to show off. We're trying to learn how to work with our new allies." The training was set to take place on a Federation world called Haven. It was considered one of the safest planets in the galaxy, with controlled weather, no dangerous wildlife, and perfect atmospheric conditions. When the human team arrived on Haven, they immediately noticed how different everything felt. The gravity was lighter than Earth's. The air was thinner but easier to breathe. The temperature never changed from a comfortable 72 degrees. Commander Zelthus, a tall alien with silver skin and no visible mouth, greeted the human team. He spoke through a device attached to his throat that translated his thoughts into sound. "Welcome to Haven," Zelthus said. "We have prepared a simple training course for our joint exercises." Steve looked at the training facility and tried not to smile. What the aliens called a challenging obstacle course looked like a children's playground to his trained soldiers. The obstacles were low, the distances were short, and everything was padded for safety. "This looks great," Steve said politely. "Should we begin?" The alien soldiers were a mixed group from 6 different species. They moved carefully through the course, taking their time to avoid any risk of injury. When they reached obstacles, they used special equipment to climb over them safely. Then it was the humans' turn. Sergeant Lisa Hayes went first. She ran through the course at full speed, jumping over obstacles without using equipment, climbing walls with her bare hands and completing the entire circuit in less than 2 minutes. The alien soldiers watched in stunned silence. "Is she injured?" asked one of the aliens. "She was moving so fast she must have hurt herself." "No," Steve replied. "That's normal speed for human soldiers." Dr. Amy Johnson, who had come along as the team's scientist, began taking notes on alien reactions. The cultural differences were even more extreme than anyone had expected. When the joint exercises continued, the problems became obvious. The aliens could not keep up with human physical performance. What was easy for humans was impossible for most galactic species. But the humans also struggled with alien technology that required delicate handling and precise movements. "We need to find ways to combine our strengths," Steve told Zelthus during a break. "You have better technology. We have better physical capabilities." "But your physical capabilities are dangerous," Zelthus replied. "What if someone gets hurt? Then we treat the injury and keep going," Steve said. "That's how we learn." The concept of learning through failure was foreign to Federation species. Their societies were built around avoiding all risk, which meant avoiding all failure. Brenkim. On Earth, Professor Carl Davis made a breakthrough in understanding alien languages. He discovered that most galactic species had developed complex words for safety, comfort, and peace, but simple words for danger, pain, and conflict. "It's the opposite of human language development," he explained to a group of linguists. "We developed complex words for conflict and survival, because those concepts are central to our experience." The linguistic differences revealed something important about human nature. Where other species saw problems to be avoided, humans saw challenges to be overcome. Dr. Sam Collins continued studying alien technology in his MIT laboratory. He found that Federation equipment was incredibly advanced but also incredibly specialized. Each tool did one job perfectly, but could not adapt to changing conditions. "Human technology is crude by their standards," Sam told his research team, "but it's also flexible. Our tools can be used in ways we never intended. Theirs cannot." This difference became important when news arrived from the Outer Rim. The Devourers had attacked another Federation world, and this time they had captured it completely. The alien force was unlike anything the Federation had encountered before. Captain Zixtal sent detailed reports about the Devourers to Earth. They were a species that thrived in dangerous conditions. They used harsh environments as weapons, attacking during radiation storms and in areas too toxic for Federation forces to operate. "They are like a nightmare version of your species," Zixtal's message explained. "They survive in conditions that kill us, but they use that ability to destroy rather than create." General Ron Hayes called an emergency meeting at the Pentagon. Military leaders from around the world gathered to discuss humanity's response to the galactic crisis. "The Federation is asking for our help," Hayes announced. "They need forces that can operate in hostile environments." "What exactly are we talking about?" asked General Paul Martinez from the European Defense Force. "Combat operations in space regions that are too dangerous for alien forces. Radiation, levels that would kill them instantly. Asteroid fields that would destroy their ships. Planets with toxic atmospheres." The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity was being asked to fight a war in conditions that other species considered impossible to survive. Commander Jake Morrison stood up from his seat. "We need to see the battlefield conditions ourselves before we commit to anything." "Agreed," Hayes replied. "I'm authorizing a reconnaissance mission. Take a small team and assess the situation." Dr. Lisa Barrett was selected to join the reconnaissance team as a biology expert. Her job would be to study the Devourers and understand how they had adapted to survive in such harsh conditions. As the team prepared for departure, Earth's governments debated humanity's role in the galactic community. Some argued that humans should stay out of alien conflicts. Others believed that helping the Federation was humanity's responsibility. As the newest members of galactic civilization, The decision was made when more reports arrived from the Outer Rim. The Devourers were not just conquering Federation worlds, they were consuming them, stripping planets of all resources and leaving dead rocks behind. If the Devourers continued their expansion, they would eventually reach Earth. Humanity's choice was simple: fight the enemy in space or fight them in their own solar system. The age of human isolation was truly over. The galaxy needed Earth's children, and Earth's children were ready to answer the call. The reconnaissance mission launched from Earth 3 weeks after the Federation's desperate request for help. Commander Jake Morrison led a team of 8 humans aboard the newly modified ship Endurance. The vessel had been upgraded with both human and alien technology, creating something neither species had seen before. Dr. Lisa Barrett studied star charts in her small cabin as they traveled toward the Outer Rim. The region controlled by the Devourers was marked in red on Federation maps. No alien ship had returned from those areas in over 6 months. "We're approaching the danger zone," announced Lieutenant Commander Beth Taylor from the bridge. She was the youngest member of the team, but also the best pilot Earth had produced. Her hands moved easily over controls that combined human durability with alien precision. Captain Steve Rogers joined Jake on the bridge as they entered Devourer territory. The space around them looked normal at first, but their instruments told a different story. Radiation levels were 10 times higher than what Federation ships could handle. Electromagnetic storms swept through the region like invisible hurricanes. Any Federation ship would be dead by now, Steve observed, watching the readings. "But we're still fine," Jake replied. "Our shielding is holding." The Endurance was built like a human warship but powered by alien technology. It could survive impacts that would destroy Federation vessels, yet it was fast enough to outrun most enemy ships. The combination of human engineering and alien science had created something new. Dr. Sam Collins worked in the ship's modified laboratory, analyzing data from their sensors. The information they were gathering about Devourer technology was unlike anything in Federation records. "Their ships are designed for these conditions," Sam reported to the team. "They don't fight the radiation and storms. They use them." On the 4th day of their mission, they found what remained of the Federation world called Harmony. The planet had been beautiful once, according to alien records. Now it was a dead rock surrounded by debris. "Look at this," Dr. Barrett said, pointing to her biological scanners. "There's still life down there, but it's not Federation life." The Devourers had left creatures behind on the dead world, beings that could survive in the toxic atmosphere and radioactive environment. They were like a twisted version of Earth's extremophile bacteria, but these were large and intelligent. "They're terraforming in reverse," Lisa realized. Instead of making worlds suitable for normal life, they're making them suitable only for themselves. The team spent 2 days studying the dead world from orbit. What they learned changed everything they thought they knew about the enemy. The Devourers were not just conquerors. They were a species that thrived on destruction, literally feeding on the death of other worlds. "We need to see them in action," Jake decided. "Find a world they're currently attacking." The next system they visited was under siege. The planet Sanctuary was home to 12 million aliens from 6 different species. Devourer ships surrounded the world like a dark cloud, slowly poisoning the atmosphere with weapons that turned air into acid. Federation ships hung helplessly at the edge of the system, unable to approach through the toxic storm the Devourers had created around the planet. Captain Zixtal's voice came through their communication system. He sounded defeated and exhausted. "Commander Morrison, you should not be here. The radiation will kill you." "We're reading high levels, but we're still operational," Jake replied. "What's the tactical situation?" "Hopeless. We cannot get close enough to fight them. Our ships fail before we can engage. We have lost 17 vessels trying to break through their storm." Jake looked at his team. Steve Rogers was studying the enemy formation through their military scanners. Beth Taylor was calculating flight paths through the radiation storm. Dr. Collins was analyzing Devourer technology. Dr. Barrett was trying to understand how the enemy survived in such hostile conditions. "We can get through," Beth announced. "The Endurance can handle those radiation levels." "For how long?" Jake asked. "Long enough to fight." Steve Rogers had been quiet, but now he spoke up. "We need to contact Earth. This is bigger than a reconnaissance mission. But Jake shook his head. Those people down there don't have time for us to go home and ask for permission. They'll be dead before we get back. The decision was made. The Endurance would attempt what no Federation ship could do. They would fly through the Devourer storm and engage the enemy directly. As they approached the toxic barrier around Sanctuary, their ship's systems began to strain. Alarms sounded as radiation levels climbed beyond what most species could survive. But the human crew felt only mild discomfort. Entering the storm, Beth reported, her voice steady despite the danger. The Endurance shook as it passed through layers of poisonous gas and deadly radiation. Their alien-designed shields flickered but held. Their human-built hull absorbed impacts that would have destroyed Federation vessels. Then they were through. The Devourer ships were massive and ugly, built like weapons rather than vehicles. They had no grace or beauty, only function. When they detected the human ship, they turned to attack with weapons that shot streams of liquid fire. Evasive maneuvers, Jake ordered. Beth Taylor flew the Endurance like it was part of her own body. She dove between enemy ships, rolled under their firing arcs, and used the radiation storm itself as cover. The alien crew members watching from the edge of the system could not believe what they were seeing. Steve Rogers commanded the ship's weapons, adapted human missiles guided by alien targeting systems. Each shot was precise and devastating. The Devourer ships were built to survive in hostile environments, but they were not built to fight an enemy that could match their environmental resistance. Direct hit on the lead ship, Steve reported. They're breaking formation. The battle lasted for 6 hours. The Endurance fought alone against 12 Devourer vessels in conditions that would have killed any other ship in the galaxy. By the end, 8 enemy ships were destroyed and the remaining 4 had retreated into deep space. The radiation storm around Sanctuary began to clear as the Devourer weapons stopped functioning. Federation rescue ships moved in to evacuate the surviving population. Captain Zixtal's message was filled with amazement. How did you survive in there? Our instruments showed radiation levels that should have killed all biological life. Dr. Barrett answered honestly. We're from Earth. We're used to hostile conditions. News of the battle spread through the Federation, faster than light-speed communications could carry it. For the first time since the Devourer attacks began, an alien world had been saved. And it had been saved by beings from the Deathworld that most species feared to approach. Admiral Quentar sent an urgent message to the Federation Council. We need the humans, his report stated. They can fight where we cannot. They can survive where we cannot. They are our only hope against this enemy. The Endurance returned to Earth carrying proof that humanity could make a difference in the Galactic War. But they also carried a sobering truth. The Devourers were not just another enemy. They were a force of destruction that consumed entire worlds. If they were not stopped, they would eventually reach Earth itself. The Deathworld that had forged humanity would become their final battlefield. 2 years after the Battle of Sanctuary, the galaxy had changed completely. The Galactic Federation Council met an emergency session on the capital world of New Harmony. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to discuss the most important decision in galactic history. Admiral Jake Morrison stood before the assembly, wearing the new uniform of the Guardian Fleet. The blue and silver design combined symbols from Earth and the Federation, representing humanity's unique role in galactic defense. The Devourer threat has been eliminated, Jake announced to the assembled delegates. The last enemy stronghold fell 6 months ago. The victory had not come easily. It took human forces fighting in conditions that would kill other species. Battles were fought inside dying stars, in the vacuum between galaxies and on planets where the air was poison. Only humans could survive long enough to engage the enemy in such places. President Mary Johnson addressed the assembly from Earth via hologram. Her words were translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. When we first learned that Earth was considered a death world, we were confused, she said. Now we understand that our harsh home prepared us for a role we never expected. We Accept the Federation's offer to become the Guardians of Dangerous Space. Captain Lisa Hayes commanded the new Guardian station orbiting Earth's moon. The massive structure was built with human engineering and alien technology, designed to train mixed crews for operations in hostile environments. In the station's main training facility, alien cadets from dozens of species learned survival techniques that seemed impossible to their instructors just a few years earlier. A young Vraxian named Keltar practiced breathing exercises that would help him function in Earth's thick atmosphere. Remember, instructed Sergeant Bob Turner, a former Navy SEAL, the goal is not to become human. The goal is to survive in conditions where only humans could survive before. The training was revolutionary. For the first time in galactic history, other species were learning to push beyond their natural limits. The success rate was low, but those who completed the program became elite forces capable of operating in extreme conditions. Dr. Lisa Barrett had established the Deathworld Research Institute on Luna. Scientists from across the galaxy came to study how life could adapt to hostile environments. Her work was changing the basic understanding of biology throughout the Federation. Life is more flexible than we thought, she explained to a group of alien researchers. Given enough time and pressure, almost any species can adapt to survive in conditions that would normally kill them. The Institute's laboratories were filled with experiments that would have been considered impossible before human contact. Alien bacteria were being modified to survive in Earth-like conditions. Plants from gentle worlds were being adapted to grow in harsh environments. Dr. Sam Collins worked with Federation engineers to design new classes of starships. The Guardian fleet vessels were unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. They combined human durability with alien precision, creating ships that could go anywhere and survive anything. The newest ship in the fleet was the Pioneer, commanded by Captain Beth Taylor. She led a crew of humans and aliens on missions to explore regions of space that had been considered too dangerous to visit. Entering the Maelstrom Nebula, Beth announced to her mixed crew. The nebula was filled with gravitational anomalies and radiation storms that had destroyed every previous expedition. Her alien crew members had trained for 2 years to prepare for this mission. They wore special suits designed to help them survive, in conditions that humans found merely uncomfortable. The hegemony officer Zarketh checked his equipment nervously. Radiation levels are climbing, reported the science officer, Dr. Amy Johnson. But we're still within safe parameters. What was considered safe had been redefined since humans joined the galaxy. The new standards were based on human tolerances rather than the more fragile alien physiology. The Pioneer pushed deeper into the nebula than any ship had gone before. They discovered 3 star systems that had been hidden by the radiation storms. 2 contained planets that could support life after terraforming. The third held the ruins of an ancient civilization that had vanished millions of years ago. Another successful mission, Beth reported to Guardian Command. The Maelstrom Nebula is now open for Federation exploration. Back on Earth, children in schools learned about their world's new role in the galaxy. What had once been considered a dangerous, isolated planet was now the center of galactic defense operations. 10-year-old Kevin Davis raised his hand in his geography class. Why do the aliens think Earth is scary? His teacher, Ms. Helen Parker, smiled. Because they evolved on worlds where everything was safe and comfortable. We evolved on a world where we had to be strong and adaptable to survive. So we're like superheroes to them? In a way, yes. But remember, being strong means we have a responsibility to help others. The concept of responsibility was central to humanity's new role. The Guardian Charter, signed by Earth and the Federation, made it clear that human abilities came with obligations to protect those who could not protect themselves. Commander Steve Rogers, now Director of Guardian Training, worked with alien military leaders to develop new tactics for extreme environment combat. The old Federation military doctrine had been based on avoiding dangerous situations. The new doctrine embraced danger as a tactical advantage. We don't fight despite the harsh conditions, Steve explained to a group of officers. We fight because of them. We use hostile environments as weapons against enemies who cannot adapt. The success of the Guardian program led to requests from species across the galaxy. Worlds that had been abandoned due to environmental dangers were being reclaimed with human assistance. Mining operations were established in asteroid fields that had been considered too hazardous. Trade routes were opened through regions of space that had been avoided for centuries. Dr. Carl Davis, now head of the Galactic Linguistics Institute, published his groundbreaking study on the cultural impact of human integration. His research showed that contact with humans had changed how other species thought about risk, challenge, and growth. Before humans joined the galaxy, he wrote, most species saw survival as the absence of threat. Humans taught us that survival is the mastery of threat. 5 years after first contact, Earth had become the unofficial capital of galactic exploration and defense. The Guardian fleet patrolled regions of space that had been unmapped for millennia. Human-trained alien crews operated in conditions their ancestors could never have imagined surviving. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of Guardian Station, looking down at the blue and green world that had shaped his species. Earth no longer looked like just another planet. It looked like what it had always been, a forge that created beings capable of surviving anywhere in the universe. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers that most species feared to face. But Earth had produced the perfect guardians for that hostile universe. The Deathworld had given birth to its protectors, and those protectors were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead in the infinite darkness between the stars. The transformation was complete. Welcome to Earth, the Deathworld, had become welcome to Earth, the Guardian World, and the galaxy was safer because of it.